Locas. Well, we want to welcome you to Las Locas Chronicles. Crux.
Wow.
Edition.
Like Crocs the shoes?
Really?
I was good. I mean, you do love your Crocs.
I sure do. I have them on right now. Come on,
Yeah,
somebody.
but they're not like the ugly Crocs. They're
No.
like, they look like shoes. They look like
Okay,
sandals.
They look sophisticado.
Oh, so that. Has anyone ever heard Crocs and sophisticated
Well,
the same
'cause they-
sentence?
listen. When you grow up and your feet change, you
That-
gotta have something
that is correct.
that will help you walk the journey.
Oh,
Okay.
wow. Okay. Sister, why don't you tell everybody where we're at today?
So, as you can see, the Loca studio is a little different today because we are here in Houston, Texas. Yes, at the Crux Journey Church. And
Yo.
we are so excited. It is our first ever outside being hosted by a different church other than ours.
Yeah.
And this is the first time they're opening the ground for us. And it's
They
amazing.
really are. And
Tell
they-
them why we're here.
So we're here to speak at a conference tomorrow, and we are so excited about that. Y'all, listen, again, I just keep saying this, and y'all will hear me say this every episode.
Every episode.
I'm just in amazement of what God does. That when you walk in obedience, that He just keeps opening the doors and keeps opening the doors.
Obedience is the
and-
key. Obedience is the key. It's the one that opens the door. Some people can't get in because they're
Yeah.
disobedient.
Oh,
Oh,
wow,
we
you
starting
just-
already?
You started already.
Let's start it now then.
Oh,
Okay.
my God. Okay.
Yeah. Some people are like, why isn't it happening for me? Because you didn't do what God, you did it the way you wanted, not the way God wanted you to do it.
That's correct.
Period.
That is correct.
But we are here. We
Yeah.
are live. We're excited.
We have a live audience.
We have a live audience. They've been setting up for tomorrow.
Look how beautiful the background
Yes.
is and everything.
It is my Sisters Keepers Women's Conference tomorrow.
Yes.
And we're talking about the chosen, the call. He's chose you. So,
Yeah. Oh, I'm excited about that.
yeah. And we kind of talked about what we're sharing and that kind of a thing. And God
Yeah.
put a word in your heart. And I'm excited to hear you. I'm so excited.
But you just heard me 2 weeks ago, sis.
Yeah, and that's why I'm excited because you have a word. And I love it when people are studied up and they have meat to give. Listen, I'm not an appetizer girl.
Ooh. Okay.
Okay? I want the full plate. Give me everything you got because I'm hungry.
Right. And we do need to be relying on the word of God.
Yeah. So I'm excited. And tonight we are coming back with the drinks. Can you please?
Y'all, let me tell you something.
Here we go.
They look at these beautiful drinks, first of all. Look at this. Okay. Why has my sister not let me touch this drink for 20 minutes? She literally has tortured me for 20 minutes. I'm like, let me just take a little because I'm so tired. Stop it.
Because I wanted her first reaction to be here on the pod. So you ready?
Okay.
Cheers. See,
Cheers.
and you see how she is? You see how she is? All of a sudden, she wants to like come rah, 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 barking. But then all of a sudden, she's all, right? You see that, right?
Okay, because I'm excited because I'm going to get to taste it now.
Here we go. Cheers.
Okay, cheers. Ding. Okay. Oh.
That's exciting.
Ooh.
That's exciting.
Oh, that's good.
This is a latte they made fresh. The barista was in the house.
Oh, this is good.
The barista was in the house.
Okay, I'm going to have one of these tomorrow, too.
Alyssa, the barista.
Thank you very much.
You get a 10.
10
you
out of
get
10.
a 10. Okay.
10 out of 10. I need another sip.
Sipping. We're going to sip all night.
My God in heaven.
Y'all
Okay.
can laugh. No, y'all can laugh out there. This is live. They know what's up.
Okay.
Yes, you guys, we're going to ask you. You guys can ask us questions, all the things. You guys are part of this week's podcast.
Yes, all the locas and all the locos.
Oh, yes, we got locals in the house too.
Sister, I like your shirt, by the way.
I was just going to say, yo, what's up with your shirt, son?
Guys, look at my shirt. Loca for life.
Loca for life. And then we got here, Las Locas Chronicles. Get your gear. What
Sister,
are we
you did
doing?
a fantastic job designing these. I'm very
Thank
proud
you.
of you.
I appreciate it. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Yes. You know, when I look at that now, because I was working on these in the midnight hours, guys. That's the time that I had to work on these.
That's
But
y'all
when I
know
look
that's
at-
when she's up.
That okay, yes, but your sister also wanted to sleep at 4 a.m. When I look at yours, I feel like Looney Tunes. If you know, you know.
Like Looney Tunes. Wow.
Because
Okay.
you know the little. I'm good with it.
I was
I'm
really
good with
excited about this shirt. Now I'm not. I now don't know how I'm
you
excited
be
about
excited.
it.
You be that. That's iconic, bro. That's iconic. You an icon.
So basically, I'm like Bugs Bunny now.
yes.
Okay.
Biggity. Listen. So today we got a great conversation going.
Yes, we did.
And-
Had a fantastic conversation in the car.
Yes, with Pastor and our girl Brandy that
Yes.
God used to bring us
With
down
Pastora
here. Yes. Gloria. I think I got your number, Gloria.
Y'all don't remember that. Do they remember that?
We're
Does
thinking
anybody
it-
remember that? See, we just aged ourselves though.
Right? But that's okay. And some of them were shiesty back there. They were like, no, yes you did. you had it playing on your way to church.
Okay.
You know?
So we had a great
you
conversation.
had a great conversation.
Yeah.
And it was and you choked up in the car a little bit.
I did.
Because it's a real and as we were talking in the bathroom as we were getting ready, we said, we know exactly where we're going to go tonight.
Yeah.
And that's how God does it, right? We don't know what we're going to do or say, and then all of a sudden God's like, good, because I know exactly where you're going to go. And I think that was a perfect setup for tonight.
Yeah, that was a great conversation in the car, and it really brings us back to after having a conversation before you got there, because we were waiting for you.
Yeah.
Her flight came in a little bit later than mine, and I got this opportunity to hang out with Pastora and Brandy, and we were just sharing our stories, and it was just, listen, we say this all the time, right? That our stories are weapon,
That's
right. And we have to share our stories because it's what God has done in our lives.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And that's how we
100%.
give honor and glory to God, to show people like, listen, I was tore up and look what God did in my life.
100%.
Right? But it really, the theme that I heard today as we were sharing stories is really what God has done in breaking generational cycles, right? Mm-hmm. Things that were, done in our families, things that were spread from generation to generation. And as I was saying it brought to remembrance how far, how many cycles in my family have had to been broken through the years.
So today we're going to be sharing breaking generational cycles. And for Jessica and I, if you've watched first season and now coming into our second season, we've shared a lot of the things that we've had to struggle during our childhood. And just to name off some of the generational cycles that we've been through poverty.
Yes.
We've been through different kinds of education, lack of education, I should say.
Lack of education.
We've been through abuse, whether it be mental, physical, emotional abuse. Right. We've been through alcoholism, substance abuse.
Right.
And is any other abuse that you could think of off the top of your head?
And not abuse, but I was sharing with Pastora today, and this was like a new revelation for us a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Even, witchcraft.
Yes.
In families.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
The generational curses of brujeria, santeria.
Right.
The different levels of spiritual attacks, demonic oppressions that we go through. Even like depression.
Even depression.
Depression comes down through the generational bloodlines, and anxiety, and let's talk about health.
Mental health.
Stuff,
Yeah,
like physical health.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got diabetes that has run through my whole father's, side of the family. That's killed off people before they were supposed to leave this. Obesity, exactly. So
just
there's
so many
things, and these are our experiences and the things that we've had to go through.
Yeah.
And this is life. And if you're out there and you're listening today, we want to talk to you because you don't have to stay there.
That's right.
And not only do you not have to stay there, but your children don't have to stay there.
That's right.
But it's going to take you you have to get to the point where you say enough is enough.
Exactly.
Right? And you're going to have to say, everything requires work. And I don't understand why some people want the prize without putting in the work.
Right. Right. We want to be free, but we don't want to go to the one who frees us.
Right, because that requires some kind of sacrifice. That
That's
requires you to say, I'm going to abstain from certain things.
Right. That we need to be a living sacrifice.
Right, 100%. Romans 12:1. And so today we want, and I know this story resonates with so many people because there are things, especially for those of us that were not brought up in church.
Yeah.
Or like in your case, you remember going to church from straight up, but there was still things that were lingering in your family that weren't dealt with.
Right. I mean, just so many things, right?
Yeah.
And as I think about my family today and what God has done in my family, I think I just give all the honor and glory to God, because my family could be completely different.
Yeah.
The way that we were raised, my family could be completely different.
And by your family, you're talking about your immediate family.
I'm talking about my immediate family.
Yeah.
I'm talking about my husband, my children.
Your marriage.
My marriage.
Yeah.
Everything could have been completely different.
Even your dog's life. Let's get it.
Come on.
Okay.
But by the grace of God, only by the grace of God, that He is able to literally break chains,
Yes.
right? And that's what the blood of Jesus does.
Right.
It breaks chains. It
That's
breaks
right.
bondages. It breaks cycles. And so when
Right.
people, but we have to realize, right, that He is the only one that can do it. Because when we try to do it in our own strength, then it's not going to work. Right? Because we can't do anything in our own strength.
Not at all.
Right? So that's where the Israelites go. I always go back to the Old Testament
always go-
because I
yeah.
love them Israelites,
Yeah.
okay? Because they always try to do it in their own strength. They're like, we have all these laws. Well, let me try in my own strength to try to fulfill them. Well, that's why that's why God gave them those laws.
Yeah.
Because the purpose was so that they could realize that they could never do it on their own. And that it wasn't about, the laws. It was about a relationship with God.
100%.
And it was about a heart posture towards God.
Yeah.
And so anyway, in having that realization in my life and what God has done is made me realize that, only by God's grace that I'm able to live the life that I live now, and that my children, have the opportunity to have a different life. And so I think what resonated the most was when I was telling Brandy my story, which I don't think I've shared this before. Well, y'all know, all the locas out there.
Yes.
Y'all know that, my parents were alcoholics. My mom had been an alcoholic for, since she was about 13 or 14 years old. And then had continued on secretly through all those years and everything else. But what my grandfather, her father, was an alcoholic since he was 11 years old.
Wow.
And then his mother, so that's my great-grandmother, was also an alcoholic and was just an angry, nasty, hateful woman. And so not only do we have alcoholism, but we have hate. And we have anger that has been passed down from generation to generation.
That's right.
And so
I can't even imagine you knowing your personality, knowing how, people always say, man, I love it when you laugh, your laugh just kind of is contagious.
Yeah.
Imagine you not coming into what Jesus had for you and being this hateful person.
Right.
First of all, you and I would not even be friends.
Literally.
Let's get it together.
But
I can't be around no hateful
when
people.
you met me, I was angry.
Oh, you sure were. You were nasty.
Right. When you met me, I was angry.
You were bitter.
And I was in an angry place
You
because
were
I
hateful.
I was growing up with
You were disgusting.
Okay, well, I mean, man, wow. Tell me how you really feel, sister.
Oh, awesome. All right,
with friends like her. I think I need a sip. Hold on.
Was I going too far?
Listen, you could use your Zoom feature on this now.
Was I doing too much?
I mean, no. I mean, that's the truth, though.
No, but you were like super.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Super angry because I was.
But even like your face was different.
My disposition. Everything was different about me.
You were cold.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm still a little cold, but.
We're still working. We're still a work in progress. We're still not perfect.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, imagine that. And here's another thing that I have not shared on with all our locas out there is my great grandmother was such a hateful woman that my grandfather grew up hating women.
Stop.
And so he gets married, beats up every wife he's ever had. Physical
How many
abuse.
times was he married?
A couple times.
Okay.
And then had 4 daughters and basically treated all of them with contempt and hate, just like he did my grandmother.
Wow.
Yeah. And so then my mom, who is, one of the daughters, hates women as well. And so,
and that is why she didn't like you.
Right. And so when I grew up, she, and I hate to say this, right? Because a lot of kids will say this, but kids do say, if you have multiple kids, and you'll know this, right? They'll say things like, oh, you love this one more than me, or, whatever. But in this case, this was true. She never respected women. She never liked women. She never had any friends that were women. She didn't trust any women. She didn't like any women in the church that we grew up. She didn't even like her sisters. When her mom died, she didn't want to go see her. She just disliked women.
Other reason, but
because my grandfather hated women and treated them so badly.
Because that was a learned behavior. That was
because he hated his mother, and because his mother hated him.
Because that was a cycle.
It was a cycle. And then not only did she always treat me, and to this day has treated me bad, will call me, tell me, what kind of pastor are you, you're, all these horrible things. And then makes me question, who I am as a person, even though, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how horrible your parents are, they're still your parents, right?
Absolutely.
And so, and then treated my daughter exactly the same way. So treated my son very kind. And then my daughter actually told me one day,
there was a point where your son was her favorite and he loved her right that way.
My son was enamored with her. And one day my daughter comes home and she's like, Mommy, I'm so hungry. And I'm like, what do you mean you're hungry? And she said, yeah, Grandma only makes breakfast for Josh and not for me.
Stop it.
And it just broke my heart. It just literally broke my heart. And it broke my heart, and it almost made me want to get violent, because nobody ever wants their children to be mistreated. Nobody ever wants their children to, so one day she told me, my mother said, every mother and daughter, they all fight. Every mother and daughter fights. And I told her, no, not every mother and daughter fights. I said, I don't fight with my daughter like that. I don't disrespect my daughter. I don't curse at my daughter.
Right.
I love her unconditionally. Now, do we argue about, everybody argues, right?
Right.
But man, we love each other so deeply that I could never imagine treating my daughter the way that my mother has treated me, and it just breaks my heart, right. To feel that at some moments I didn't know what it was to have boundaries and to have exposed her to that level of hate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you've done a great job at breaking that cycle.
Yeah.
And how was that process for you? Was that something in the back of your mind? Like, I have to treat my daughter better. They're not going to feel what I felt growing up. Or like, how did you process that to be different? Because you love both of your children. As your friend,
right.
I can say that you truly, and I see your relationship. I have a relationship with her daughter now. Her daughter didn't like me before, but I have a relationship.
That's just because she's jealous of anyone who takes my attention.
Yes, and her daughter wants her mom to be like next to her at all times, and she loves your company. She moved back home from Florida to Texas to be with you, and I see when you come into that, when she comes home from work, you're like, hey daughter, and just a whole conversation. And how did you change the dynamic? How did you change from your generational bloodline to now having this relationship with your children?
Well, I don't know that it was something intentional, right? I think it was, again, when I had my son, I was young. I didn't know what I was doing. I knew I needed God. And I think that you cannot love somebody, truly love someone, unless you understand and receive God's true love.
That's good.
Because when you understand and receive God's true love, then you're going to be healed by that love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That love starts to heal you in the broken places of your heart. And so in working on my relationship with the Lord, it helped me to be able to understand what it means for a parent to love a child.
Yeah.
And I kept thinking to myself, if I love this little human this much, how much more does God love me? You know what I mean? I kept, and every morning I'd wake up and I think every decision that day was based around my children. And I think, how much more does God do that for us?
But I feel like that's like a headspace that you got into, because as pastors, we see people and we counsel people all the time.
Yeah.
And I could tell you that there are people that love God,
Yeah.
right? To a certain level, they love God, but they have this gripe in their family.
Yeah.
They don't love their family like that. They have this, there's this, how would you say, like this division that's happening. They haven't talked to their brothers in years.
Yeah.
They haven't talked to their mom in years.
Yeah.
But they're in church every Sunday. They're in church every
yeah.
Wednesday.
Yeah.
So what like how something had to click for you.
I just think that, I just think it was part of growing up and really just pushing into God and realizing, look, here's the thing. You just have to be humble and say, I just can't do this, God, without you.
Yeah.
I don't know how to be a mom. I'm 21 years old.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know how to do anything. I didn't know how to change diapers. I didn't know how to make baby milk. I'm thinking, how are these kids going to survive? I hope their daddy stay here because I don't know what's going to happen to them. Okay. So, and it really came to that point where I really, did an analysis of my own life, and I didn't want to have that. I didn't want my kids to feel the way I felt when I grew up.
Yeah.
I felt alone. I felt unseen. I felt forgotten. I felt like my mother hated me. I still feel that way to this day. And I never wanted my children to feel what I felt.
Yes.
I wanted them to know that they were highly loved, that they were highly wanted, that they are valuable, and so much so that my kids actually say, Mom, you just put too much pressure on us because you're always saying we can do anything we want to do. I was like, because I really believe that you can do anything that you want to believe, that you want to do.
And I think you answered my question now, because what I heard was you had a vision for your children. You had a vision for your family.
100%.
And I think part of breaking cycles, generational curses and cycles, is you have to have a vision of where you don't want to be.
Right.
Like, this is not what I'm going to do. Like, for example, when I was growing up, I did not want to live in the hardship that my parents had to live in. I did not want to have the marriage that my parents had,
Right.
I wanted to be able to talk to my husband without him degrading me. I knew that was out there. I knew that wasn't just for TV and magazines.
Right.
So I had a vision for myself, and I had a vision for what it was going to be like in spite of what was my surroundings. And many of you're going to have to talk to yourself and say, I know that we could do better than this.
That's exactly it. I know we can do better.
I know we could do better.
I don't have to live the way that I live.
It's the mindset.
It is a mindset.
It's the mindset shift aside from loving God and receiving God, and that helps.
Right, but it also says, be not conformed, be transformed
by the
renewal of your mind.
Right, by the renewal of your mind.
And what does that?
Right.
It's the Word of God.
Absolutely, 100%.
You know what I mean? And the Word of God really gives you vision.
I think it's bringing it together now. It's the number one, the obedience, the submission to Christ. Once you're submitted to Christ, He will transform your mind. And what happens with the end of the verse is, and then you will know every good, acceptable thing, the good plans of God, the purpose for your life. Yeah. So what happens is we need to get to a place where we're like, you know what, this is not it.
Right.
And so many times what we found are people stay in the cycles because they feel like, well, this is how my mom did it. This is how my grandma did it. Right. This is how my great-grandma did it.
People say that all the time.
They say it
and I'm like, just because
they
they did that doesn't mean... Yo, let me tell you something about me. I question everything.
Yeah.
I question everything because I want to know where you got that idea from. I want to know where you got that belief from, because beliefs come from different places.
Right.
It comes from culture. It comes from tradition, right? It comes from all different, our surroundings, how we grew up, where we grew up geographically, right? Yeah. So we pick up all these different ideas about what it means to be a mom, what it means to be a dad, anything, all the things, right?
Right.
And so we have to ask ourselves, where did this idea come from? And is this idea in alignment with God's word?
Right.
And that's really, we have to constantly ask ourselves that. So like when people say, we shouldn't go, we shouldn't swim 15 minutes, after you eat. Why?
Yeah, tell me why.
Why? Is that really true? Yeah. Or we shouldn't have dessert before dinner. Why? Why shouldn't we?
You're such a rebel.
You know what I mean? But ask yourself why. Like, why do we do that?
Or, you know, for Latinos is you shouldn't go to the refrigerator after you showered.
Or put your head in the refrigerator after you put your head in the oven. Right? They say that.
Yeah, because you're going to get like a stroke or Bell's palsy or
Right,
something.
right.
Yeah.
They come up with all these things, and then you got to
Where?
ask yourself, like, where did this come from?
Where did this come from?
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that when we're living in these
Good.
cycles and
Yeah.
addictions and parenting, myths that we fall into,
Ooh, myths. Use that word.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have all these myths that we're believing, and then now we're passing it on to our children.
And
you know
they're
what I mean?
passing it on. Right.
Now, I will tell you this. Now, for some reason, my family thought that if you weren't a stay-at-home mom, then you weren't a good mom.
Ooh, come on.
And let me tell you, I was so in bondage by this. I was so in bondage by this because my parents literally guilted me to stay home with my children, even though there is nothing about me that screams stay-at-home mom. There are wonderful stay-at-home moms out there. This is a calling, I believe, right?
That's good.
This is a calling. God has gifted you the grace to be able to do this. Me, I'm not a great stay-at-home mom. I'm just not, right? And so now they guilted me to do something that I didn't want to do, right? But in the middle of it, I wasn't my best self because I allowed them to make me into something and follow a trend, right? Or belief that they had that wasn't necessarily my belief, and it wasn't necessarily God's call for my life. So in order for me to keep my sanity, that's when I decided to go back to school so that I could do something that interests me as well as be home with my children, because that made me a better mom.
Yeah.
That made me focused,
Yeah.
right? That gave me something to do that I could, kind of, keep my sanity, instead of watching Barney all day. And listen, I was making breakfast. By the time I got cleaned up with the kitchen for breakfast, it was time for lunch. By the time I got lunch cleaned up, then it was time for dinner.
Mothers know how it is. Yeah. Mothers know how it is.
Do you know how many times I picked up them toys, y'all? All day. All day I was picking up toys. All day I was changing diapers. All day I was washing dishes.
Yeah,
all
because
day.
you had your kids. Well,
They're 2 years apart.
Yeah, they're 2 years apart, so they were still babies.
All day.
Yeah.
All day. And if you know me, I'm just not domestic. I'm just not domestic. That's the truth. And you know what? I'm proud of it. Yes, I
We're gonna
am.
get her a shirt, undomesticated.
But you know what? God gave me a husband who's very domestic.
Yeah, and he loves it,
and
and
he
he
loves
thrives in it, and his love language is service. So,
His love language is service.
Right.
He loves to clean.
Right. Right.
Our kitchen
Not
is
saying-
immaculate.
and I need to
Immaculate.
address it. Not to say that my girl's a puerca cochina.
Right.
She also knows how to pick up the broom. She also puts things away. Like, we're
Yes.
talking just a different level, right? So back to what we said, for those of you that are watching right now and you feel like this is resonating with
Yeah.
you, your first step is, number one, surrender to Christ. He loves you. Second
That's right.
step right now is, we are here to take that mindset away and say,
That's right.
you can do better. This is not how your life is supposed to be.
That's right.
Okay? You do not have to stay in the situation. God has more for you, for your household. God has more for your children. I will never forget the time where I was a para teacher at we lived in a very small community, and I was a translator. We had parent teacher night, and there was always a group of the cool girls,
Yeah.
right, that never wanted to bring in homework, never wanted to do anything.
Yeah.
And this little girl was part of that crew, and it was the mother and her came in talking to the teacher, and the teacher's like, she's a great girl if she would just like make herself,
Yeah.
available to learning. I know that she could do it. She's bright. I see leadership in her. She just needs to like put her effort in.
Yeah, yeah.
And the girl, like, she's just looking down, and but when she was with her friends, she's like the cha-cha, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But here she was looking down, and the mother looked tired. The mother looked bored. The mother did not want to be there.
Wow.
And she basically told me to translate to the teacher, I don't know why you're putting in all this effort on my daughter. We work the fields, and that's what she's going to do when she grows up.
Wow.
And I had to translate that for the teacher. And I was so taken aback by that. And after after I translated for them, I walked them out, and I just could not let that be the last thing she said.
Right.
And I told the mom and her, and I spoke to her in English, the young lady. This was high school. And I told her, I said, listen, I believe your teacher. And I told the mom in front of her, I said, I want you to know that your daughter does not have to work the fields.
Yo, that breaks my heart.
For a mother to tell her daughter,
right,
to tell her teacher, you're wasting your time. I don't even know why she's in school.
She just passed on her hopelessness to her child.
That's the look that, and her mother was young too.
Yeah.
You understand? And in our church, we had the same field workers, we had orchards. We had the same orchard workers, and we had packing sheds. That's where you get all your apples and all your cherries from where we used to live. All of them there. Let me tell you something. From our church, to God be the glory, our kids, our middle school and high school, they've gone to college. First ones that graduated college. They're pastors,
that's right,
engineers, millionaires. Some of them are millionaires, have their own businesses. Why? Because you do not have to stay in the old mindset. You could break it. And I told the mother, I said, I need you to see your daughter differently. Your daughter could do better than just work in the fields if you give her a chance. And for your family, you guys could do better. This is not your forever.
Yeah.
And I don't know if she took that seat or not, but that little girl looked at me like, oh, wait a minute. Like,
I can do something else?
Exactly.
Like there's another option for me?
Exactly. It broke my heart. I couldn't believe.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that. And that's what we're talking about. There are people that feel that this is it. And we come to tell you this is not it.
It's not it.
Because if this was it, Jessica and I would not be here today.
That's right.
But we believed God. And what God has for you is going to look so crazy to people. And that's why you can't share it with everybody.
That's right.
Because just like Joseph, when Joseph shared the dream, that brought about the obstacle and opposition that came from his very own family.
That's right.
Listen, family issues are real issues. All throughout the Bible, you see it. You have to do your part to believe God's word over what they say about you.
That's right.
If Jessica believed everything her parents said about her grandparents, her great-grandparents, she wouldn't be here right now. Listen, you need to listen to the voice of God, and it has to be louder than the people that are living in the same house with you.
That's right. Because the reality is that sometimes it's your own family. They're not going to be your biggest cheerleaders.
No, because...
And listen, and you hear me say this all the time. The Bible says that David encouraged himself. Sometimes there is not going to be anyone around you to encourage you. You got to be just like here. Come on, God. Yep. I'm praying for myself. Yes. In Jesus' name. Yes. You see me do this so many times.
Yes.
I pray for my own self. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know what's happening. I go like this. In Jesus' name, Lord. I don't know what I'm doing, but you got this.
Come on.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's what we have to do.
We have to do that. To remind ourselves.
And that's a great example because, when I got my bachelor's degree, I was over the moon. I was like, I can't believe it. I'm the first in my family to graduate, with a degree. Right. It was incredible.
And that was
a broken cycle.
That's a broken cycle.
When I went to when I believed that I could continue and accomplish more, I told my mom that I was gonna go back to school and get my master's degree, and she said, "Why would you do that? You need to focus on your kids." Why wouldn't I do that? Why wouldn't I want to be a good example for my kids? Why wouldn't I want to keep going and see how far I can go? Why wouldn't I want to show them what hard work looks like, and that when you put in hard work that you can accomplish great things? Why wouldn't I want to show them that?
Right.
And so obviously I didn't listen to that advice.
You obviously didn't. But I feel like in you saying that, the greatest influence should be at home. Right?
Yeah.
Our kids are looking for influence everywhere. They're looking for influence on TikTok, 15-minute influence, 15-second influence.
Yeah.
And the greatest influence, like you said, is at home. I love it when kids say, I want to have a marriage like my parents.
Oh, my daughter said that 2 summers ago. My husband did something, he's real sweet. And I forgot what he did for me. And me and her started giggling over it. Because it was like so sweet. It was so cute. And we started giggling. And then she goes, oh my gosh, I want to marry somebody just like Daddy. And I thought,
that's the best. That's the best.
I was so honored. I told my husband, I said, you did it.
Yeah.
You did it.
Yeah.
And but on the opposite side, if we allow our children to see us in a bad relationship, in an abusive relationship, then our children will go and think that that's the standard in which they should that they should look for a partner like that as well.
You better say
this
that.
is why
You
women
better
that
say
are
that
in
again.
abusive relationships,
Yeah.
their children will end up mimicking those same types of relationships.
Right. Because what you put up with becomes a normal.
Right. They're like, oh, okay, so my husband's supposed to,
Slap
disrespect
me.
me and
Slap
slap
me.
me and cheat on me and,
And this he's supposed to sleep on the bed and then come back to the bed. Like, no. You hear what I'm telling you?
Yeah.
Like, this is normal.
Yeah.
We have to make biblical things normal for our children.
That's right.
And you don't know the effect that it has.
Yeah.
I mean, I was affected at 5 years old. Instead of being my mother's child, I was my mother's, confidant. I was the one that would, come and kiss mommy when daddy would say bad things to her. 5, 7, 9,
Yeah.
Then at 14, at 15, I was rebellious.
The thing is like when you do that to your kids, you make them grow up so much faster. You,
100%.
in essence, every time you share something with your child that's an adult problem with a child, you take away a piece of their childhood. You just take away a couple of the years. So if your child is 7 and you're sharing, well, now your child is 8. And if you keep sharing, well, now your child is 9.
Right.
And now your child is 12. And now you have a 10-year-old child who's acting like they're 18 years old.
I was 15 and I was 30. And let me tell you something. And at 16, this is a great point that you brought up. And of course, after so much therapy, I can tell you and I can absolutely confirm what you're saying. That's why at 15 years old, my mother could not tell me what to do. Because I was looking at her like, excuse me, we're in the same field. You're not above me. We're the same.
We're peers.
We're peers.
Right.
That's exactly
Right.
the heart posture that I had. Like, you're going to give me some kind of a mandate here? No.
Right.
Yeah.
Now you want to parent me.
Yeah.
But this whole time, you've been codependent on me.
Exactly.
Right.
And so it was very hard. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm telling you, rebellion set in. And I told her, I said, the next time he even tries something, he's going to have to go through me first. Like, it was a whole thing, right? Because that's what I became.
Yeah.
And we need to have a standard in our homes that we're teaching and influencing our children in a whole different manner. Because one seed gets roots and starts giving fruit. The fruit isn't always good.
Yeah.
So what are we doing? But going back to the story that you said in the car
Oh, about my son?
about your son.
So I shared the story, and I don't think you had ever heard that story.
No.
You
No,
didn't.
I was.
So, listen, none of us is going to be perfect parents. We just never are. Like, the joke in my house is, oh, is this the 1050th way that I'm going to ruin your life? Right? So, because every kid blames you for everything,
Yeah.
right? Doesn't mean they don't love you. It doesn't mean anything. It's just, they're just trying to figure it out. And sometimes they just want somebody to blame, right? And, we hurt the ones that we love the most, right? And so, my kids, anyone that has multiple kids know that every kid is different. Right? Sometimes you be wondering, are you sure you mine? Because you just real different, okay?
Yeah,
you
yeah,
real different.
yeah.
And so my son was just real different. He was just a different type of kid. Like me, my husband, my daughter, we all have like this same sense of humor. And then my son would make a joke and we're like, wow, that's real cryptic. Like, what are we doing? Like, if you didn't look like me, I would question it, okay?
Right.
But anyway, so I made a lot of mistakes with him. And I was 21. I literally just turned 21, like a month. I was 21. I had only been 21 for a month, and I gave birth to my son. You just make a lot of mistakes. You just don't know. You just don't know what you don't know.
Right.
I'm trying to be different than the way my parents were, so I'm trying to figure this whole thing out, right?
Yeah.
And so anyway, my son, he grew up. We struggled with him, and all the things and. And something happens when your kids are ready to graduate high school. You kind of feel like it's this countdown. Like, oh my gosh, did I teach them everything that they need to learn? Did I teach them how to do a checking account? Did I teach them how to pay insurance? Did I teach them how to get an oil change? Did I teach them how to all the things, right?
Yeah.
Did I teach them how to cook? Did I teach them how to, you start going through all the things in your mind. It almost feels like it's a countdown to 0 even though that's not really the reality of it. They're
Yeah.
always going to be there, and they're always going to be your children.
Right.
But you feel this countdown. And then
And you're always going to be there as a parent.
right. And then in a different way, but yes, you're always going to be there as a parent. And so anyway, so and then after you go through that phase, you go into the phase of, oh my gosh, I made so many mistakes with this one. I made all the mistakes, right? You start thinking, oh, I should have, paid more attention to him, or when he was struggling in school, maybe I should have homeschooled him, or you kind of go through all the things. So anyway,
It's
this
like mama's guilt.
it is. It's mom's guilt that never goes away.
Right.
Right? It's you get it in the beginning when they're babies and you have to go back to
That's
work.
why I think everybody should have 3 kids. The first one is trial and error. The second one you learn from the first one by the third time's a charm, baby.
Third time's a charm.
This one's gonna be the best out of the batch.
Okay, I didn't make it to the 3. We're not gonna do that. No. I'll just ruin my grandchildren.
Oh,
so no, I'm just kidding. So my son, my son was just a little difficult. He was just a little difficult. So, he graduates high school and, he wasn't really wanting to work and so
What did he tell you?
we said, son, we got options for you. Okay. Option A,
Yes.
you're going to go to college and you're going to work. I think that's a good option. Go to college.
That's a great option. Most
work.
parents do that. Yeah.
Right. And then you can live at home.
Sure.
Option B, go to the military. Right.
Now, Jessica's brother was in the military.
Yeah, he's
and
retired
Jessica's
Air Force.
husband.
My husband was in the military. My uncle's retired Air Force. My cousin's retired Air Force.
So that's why that was like an option B.
Yeah,
right.
Because we're like a huge military family,
Right.
and the military took my family out of the hood. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it was that opportunity that got us out of the Bronx, and it was the one, right? My uncle went to the Air Force, and then slowly took the rest of us out of the Bronx, out of the hood.
That's how you came into Long Island.
Right. That's right, because it gives you hope in a different way, right?
Yeah, so good.
And so I told my son that he can do that or whatever. Because, that summer where he graduated, like I would tell him, son, I need you to wash the dishes, do this, do that. And then of course 3 seconds before I got home, now he's washing the dishes, bruh. You had all day to wash some dishes.
That's like us.
I know
when
you
we
was
were
sitting on
growing
that
up.
sofa. I know you was sitting on that sofa. And we was a new sofa. I said, son, that sofa better, that sofa deserves to smell like anyone's behind, it needs to smell like my behind. Because I paid for it, okay? I paid for it.
Fact.
And I work all day.
Fact.
So it should smell like me and your daddy's behind. Not yours, because you
Right.
sitting on it all day doing nothing.
Listen, that's like us
So-
back in the day when mommy would say, take out the meat. Mad frozen, take out the meat. And then we hear her car, oh shoot.
We forgot to take out the meat.
We put the meat and it is mad hard. Nobody's eating dinner tonight.
So my son, we were having that conflict,
Yeah.
And my son was like, well, Mom, I was just thinking about.
He had his own plan.
He had his own plan. But this is very representative of us as believers too. Son said, Mom, I was thinking about it, and I was thinking maybe, I would really like to, just work, and yeah, and I could just stay home and
work. Go straight to work.
I said, oh, so you came up with a plan C.
Uh-huh.
I said, so that wasn't my plan.
Right.
I said, so I'm going to add on to your plan C. If you work
Right.
and you're not going to go to school.
She said, you for sure could do that.
Yeah, you could do that. But then you got to move out. You got to move out because that's not my plan.
Right.
Okay, because at the end of the day, I didn't go to school all these years. Your father didn't work his butt off all these years so that you could just throw it away and sit on my sofa and do what? What are you going to do?
Because he would be the 40-year-old man in his parents' house
Literally.
doing nothing.
Right. He is that child. You know what I mean?
You have to know your children, but
You have to know your children.
And what made this story so real for me is that was not, we're telling this story and it's easy, but I'm sure I know you.
Oh.
And that was a hard decision to make.
It was so hard to, in essence, because we pressured him hard. We pressured him to go to the military because my husband said, babe, Richie was hard.
My
husband was in the military.
Right.
My husband said he needs to go to the military. He doesn't have that hustle in his bones to go out there and make things happen for
Know
himself.
your children.
He needs discipline, and he needs a structured environment.
Don't be in denial. Know your
And he
kids.
said, and my husband went back. He was like, "Look, even when we used to put him in daycare, and they didn't have a structured environment, the kid was like trying to break people's arms. He was biting people. He was like, they will call me, Miss Fernandez, come pick up your son." What he do? Oh, he tried to break that girl's arm. What? I was like, are you sure this one's mine? Ma'am, he looks just like you. So,
But
yeah.
Richie knew.
He
said, our son needs discipline.
He needs a structure environment.
Yeah.
And I was heartbroken. I was heartbroken because when you think the military, you think what you see on TV.
Absolutely.
You see,
they're going to yell in his face.
They're going to yell at him.
They're going to abuse him, your poor baby.
He's never been without me.
Right.
You know, I went through the whole thing in my mind and I was like, I don't know. So I had another girlfriend who had a son who was a couple years older because I was like, Angela, I don't know what to do. You know, I was like, I feel so guilty. I feel like I'm forcing him to join the military. And she goes, Jessica, you're doing the right thing. She goes, you and your husband have to stand together. She said, me and my husband are divorced now, and we didn't stand together, and I lost my opportunity to make my son do something with himself.
Wow.
She goes, and now I can't. She goes, now it's hard for me to get him out of the house. Now it's hard for me to motivate him to move in the direction that I need him to move in. She goes, I missed my opportunity. She goes, as long as you have you and your husband, pushing him, you cannot feel guilty. And my heart was broken.
Yeah.
My heart was broken because I don't want to get rid of my son.
Right.
I don't want him to do something that isn't God's will for his life. But I knew that was the best thing. But it was tearing my heart apart. Because in the essence, I don't care how old your kid is.
Right.
You always see them as a baby.
That's what my mother always says.
They're always your baby. Oh my God. What are they going to do to him?
When we go back to New York, I am now 48 years old, y'all.
Yes.
And I will come home and I'm like, Ma, I'll be back at like 5. And she's like, when you coming back?
Linda.
When texting me at 11:30 midnight, I'm like, Mom, I'm 48 years old. What are you doing? I'll be home soon.
Yeah.
But like she said, I'll always be her kid.
Right.
Her favorite kid, PSN, by the way.
Oh.
But that doesn't.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. Well, the other Moyas can come and leave your comments. So anyway, so it was really hard. It was hard. But God sent my friend Angela to really encourage me, and she had lived through it.
You need wisdom in these times,
You
ladies.
need wisdom.
You need wisdom in these times. You need someone that's. Imagine what her friend said, and if you didn't abide by that, if you don't love your kids enough to come in with the hard lessons, then you can't complain when they're mooching off of you.
Right.
And when they're asking you for money to take their girlfriend out on a date at 35 years old.
Oh my God in heaven. I can't even. Son, you want me to what?
Mom, please, can I borrow a 20?
Get out of here. Immediately get out and don't take anything with you because I bought it. So... And this is what you owe me since you were 2.
Listen, but that is facts. So he joined the military. And I was just completely heartbroken and boot camp. So my son goes off to boot camp, and I'm thinking, like, the moments creeping up to when they leave to boot camp, I was thinking, is he actually gonna do it? Okay.
And so we went with him the night before, and he did. He left. And they don't let you call like home,
right,
or whatever. They call home like within the first couple days, but you can't say anything. They give you the address. That's it,
literally,
and that's it. They hang up the phone. So my son calls me finally, and he gives me the address. It was the wrong address, son. By the way, okay, you're lucky that I know how to use Google, and I was on all the parents' Facebook groups that I found the right address. I'm not bitter.
Because you know what? Here, this is for the children. It's not that we hate you.
Right.
It's that we love you. And even when we are asking you to do the hard things, we're still watching over you. And you don't even know it. you think mom and dad has abandoned me. They're so tough. They're so
Right.
hateful.
Right.
They're not helping me. But what you don't know is they're crying at night, thinking about you, thinking about how, if you're doing well, if you're not.
Right.
And here you are, so afraid of how
Right.
he's doing.
Right. So I found the address and everything else. So he called. So that day that he called me, I was like, son, oh my God, how are you doing? And he goes, Mom, I can't talk. He's like, the drill sergeant, and I could hear the drill sergeant in the back. Like every time it got louder. And then he's like, I can't talk. I just gotta hang up. And then I said, son, but just tell me how you're doing. And he said, Mom, I've never seen so many naked men in my life. And I start laughing and goes, bye. And he hangs up the phone. And I thought, okay, well, he can't be that traumatized.
But just knowing that he wasn't petrified.
Right.
He wasn't. The first thing he said was, Mommy, pick me up.
Because some guys do
Right?
cry. Some guys do
Yeah,
cry when
yeah,
they pick
yeah.
up, they start crying to their parents.
Right. And I mean, imagine you get a 2-minute call and that's what you hear. How are you going to go to sleep?
Right.
And to hear that your son was like, I've seen too many guys' booties in the
Right.
last.
I've never seen so many naked men in my life.
And for him to say that, hang up, oh, he's doing okay.
Right. Like
Yeah.
I felt like he could see the funny, like the humor in it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so anyway, boot camp is over. He's fine. They're letting him call home because it was during Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever. And he's like, I'm like, what are you eating? Because I'm
Shout
thinking,
out to the sergeants, by the way.
The
Shout
drill
out-
sergeants, yes.
Shout out for them having a good heart.
Yes, because on Thanksgiving they were letting them call home. They bought them games and movies and everything. So then of course, every mom wants to know, son, what are you eating?
Right.
So
And you're thinking prison food.
right,
You're
I'm thinking
thinking-
slop, right?
Yeah.
And so my son says, "Yeah, mama, yeah, I'm doing good." He's like, Mondays they give us pancakes and Tuesdays they give us French toast and then we get pancakes again. Boy, what?
Yeah.
You're getting pancakes and
We're
French
si-
toast? What
the
kind of military boot camp is this?
The Locas are signing up for military tomorrow.
My son actually left fatter than when he went in. So he was fine. He was fine. And so anyway, my son gets out of boot camp. He graduates. We go see him. I haven't seen him in all these months. I run down there. For anyone who's been in the military, you have to tap them out, right? So
That's
they're-
who watches those videos?
Oh,
I'm gonna put a video clip right here
Right.
of one of those things because that is like I'm like in bed, my husband's sleeping, and you know
Yeah.
me, midnight watcher. I'm like I'm moving
Yes.
the whole bed, boo, crying.
Yeah. That's the way it was.
Yeah.
I see my son and they had
So
to
you-
jog.
so you-
I was there. They had to all jog together. And of course, I knew my son. He knows my voice, right? So I'm like yelling. They're all like, in formation. They're running, jogging. And I'm like, Joshua! Then I would wait till everybody gets quiet and yell out his name again. Joshua!
You're such a loca.
And then my son said, Mom, I can hear you yelling. And I said, well, why didn't you look? He's like, we can't look.
You want him to break all. Not everybody's a rule breaker, okay? Not everybody's a rule breaker. My man's about to graduate. He about to get kicked out of the military before he even started.
Yeah. And so so they all line up and they have their blue outfits on and they cannot move until their family comes to tap them out.
So beautiful.
They have to touch them. But the saddest things are the kids whose parents never show up.
Stop it.
And they just stand there and they just
Jessica, don't do it.
It's the saddest thing. It is the saddest thing. And I just thought I would travel the world to see my son. And these kids didn't have anybody to tap them out. They didn't have anybody to yell for them and then we would go up to the ones that were standing behind and you could see the tears running down their face. And then you would just ask them, like, do you want me to tap you out? And some of them were like, no, because they're not allowed to talk, but they would say, no, my family's coming. And their family wouldn't come. Their family wouldn't come. They would stay there hoping that their family would come, And then a lot of them made, like, they would tell each other, like, if nobody taps me out, as soon as they tap you out, please come and tap me out. So then we would wait around. And then we would go up to the kids and we would say, do you want us to tap you out? Because nobody would be there for them. It just broke my heart, It just broke my heart because I thought, I don't care if I didn't have a penny. I don't care if I didn't have anything. I would have done anything to go see my son. You know, I would have sold whatever I had to go see my son because I wanted him to know that I was proud of him and that at the end of the day that he is the gift that God gave me. And I need to honor him because he's God's creation, you know, and God entrusted me to love him the way that Christ loves us, right?
Yeah.
And so my son, you know, he graduated, he did all that. He got stationed in New Mexico. And one day I was feeling so bad and I was thinking about all the things I did wrong and all the ways I could have loved him better and all the ways I could have, questioning every decision in my life, you know, concerning my son. I told my husband, I need you to take me to New Mexico. My husband's like, you want me to take you to New Mexico? I was like, immediately, like this weekend. And it was like 8 hours away from Dallas.
But that's what a mama does.
And he goes, okay, babe, let's go. And I tell my son, I'm coming. So we get in the car. We drive all the way to New Mexico. And we get in the hotel. My son sits next to me. And he says, Mom, what's going on? I said, son, I just want to tell you, I'm so sorry. I wish I could have done it better. I wish I made this decision better. I wish I could have loved you more. I wish I could have, been your advocate in school and been better. And his eyes start watering up. And he says, Mom, he goes, you've done the best that you can do. He goes, you've been the best mom ever. He goes, even though I never really say it, he goes, I love you so much. And I know that he's like, when I saw my friends' parents, he goes, I knew I had the best parents in the world. And it just made me feel like, we're never going to get it right, y'all.
Yeah.
We're never going to get it right. We're going to make 1,000,001 mistakes. This is not about perfection. This is about having humility enough to say, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I wish I could have done it better.
And I think part of you were talking about breaking cycles. Part of the breaking cycles is also very strong in the parents apologizing.
Right.
Because till this day, I have my parents and I can't even tell you if they've ever apologized.
Yeah.
And some of us need to take some time and talk to our kids and tell them, look at them in their little face and tell them, look, I'm sorry, I may not always get it right.
Yeah. I messed up.
And point it back to Jesus. He's perfect.
Right.
I'm sorry that I yelled, or whatever the case may be. That is a huge cycle that needs to be broken.
100%.
The being humble before your children and not too proud, the apologizing, the conversation, because there's some of us, Latino parents that we feel like we can't have a conversation. It's our word and that's it.
Yeah.
Nobody gets to say anything.
Right. It's my way or the highway.
Yeah. And you know what? We need conversation. Our kids need conversation. Our kids need to know that they could come to you and talk to you about anything without, getting, abused verbally, physically. That there's going to be some form of comprehension. I always tell parents, one of the greatest things that we could give our kids is the truth. Tell them that you don't want them wilding out because you wild out.
Right.
Because you did all the things you weren't supposed to do. Tell them, show them pictures. So show them the pictures that you're hiding underneath your mattress that you want nobody to see.
Well,
like, you know what I'm saying? We didn't have Instagram back in the days. Show them all the Polaroids. Show them all the photos. Show them the album, that nobody knows about. Tell them the real reason why.
Our kids do appreciate the truth, They do. And I kind of just want to cap it off with this. My daughter was... my husband and I would leading youth ministry, or not youth ministry, young adults ministry in our old church. Mm-hmm. And my daughter did not know, she didn't know that I had gotten pregnant with my son before we got married. Mm-hmm. And it's because all the young adults started asking questions. And then, her little 19-year-old self decided to add up the numbers in her mind. Why it took her 19 years to figure this out, I have no idea. But anyway... the moment she realized it, she was like, wait, what? 1 and 2. She was like, what? You mean Joshua's okay, so you guys weren't married? And she was like shocked. You know, she stayed mad at me for about 2 weeks after that. And I said, daughter, why are you mad? Like, why are you mad? And she wasn't mad that happened.
Right.
She said, I'm mad. She goes, Mom, you always tell me that no matter what, as a family, we have to tell each other the truth. We can't have any secrets from each other. And you and Daddy had this secret all these years, and you never said anything to us. So it wasn't even the act.
Right.
It was, Mom, I thought we had this relationship where you could tell me the truth.
Yeah.
You know? And I think our kids, you know, obviously there are some things that we just can't share, right? Because it's timing. It's we can't share everything because it's, you know, and I told her, I said, you know, there's things that happen between me and your dad that you'll never know about because that's between me and your dad.
Right. Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
But I think that when we have the opportunity to tell them the truth, they appreciate that. And I believe that our relationship gets closer because of it. And just how Christ reveals to us in the perfect timing things about ourselves and our families that we need to know about, right? When we're ready to hear it.
When we're ready. Yeah.
He doesn't reveal anything that we're not ready to hear. If you heard it and it's revealed to you, it's because God wants to heal that area of your life.
100%.
So yeah, that's what I got. So my kids, you know, I again am not perfect, you know, and to this day, you know, my son, you know, he's 25 and he's in Japan right now. He's doing fantastic in the military. I'm so proud of him.
Tell him. He went from being a student to now being a leader.
Yes. He was, you know, the military changed him. You know, gave him discipline. It gave him a bigger mission to live for. You know, it taught him not to just think about himself, but how his actions affect everybody in his group and the people, you know, that he was, you know, serving with. And now he leads other people and he's a great leader and I'm super proud of him, you know. Yeah. And, you know, I'm excited to see what God is going to do in his life, you know, and my daughter too.
But had he stayed home?
Listen, y'all probably would have seen me in jail because me and that kid was going to fight, okay? Son, what are we doing here?
Right,
Don't make me have to get the pan and take care of business.
Right. She said the pan. She skipped the chancla. She skipped the correa. She said, right. Get the pan.
That's right.
And what is that steel one called? The
caldero?
No, Dios mío, padre. Listen.
The steel one.
the one that you have to season first. What is that called? The skillet. The cast iron skillet. Imagine. But I'm so glad that Josh is safe in Japan. He lived to see another year. No, and also, as a parent, it would break your heart not to see your child in his full potential.
That's right.
Let me say that again. As a parent, it will break your heart. You are not breaking these cycles for yourself. You're breaking these cycles for your grandchildren and their children. I even skipped your children. You are breaking these cycles.
That's right.
So that your children's children will see God's promises.
That's right.
So the first step, Jesus. Second step, change your mind. It's all about coming into your mind and saying, this is not how I'm supposed to live. There is more for me.
That's right.
There is more for me. And today, we want to tell you there is more for you. Those relationships that you've been in, those broken relationships, there's more for you. There's a man that's going to treat you like the woman that God created, like a God's daughter. He's going to love you. He's going to be more than you ever expected or maybe even deserve. There's a man for you. Do not settle for less. There is a job out there for you. There is schooling for you. You can do it. Is it going to require a little more effort? Sometimes some of us, we're not good test takers. That's all right.
That's okay.
Some of you need to open up a business. What are we doing?
That's right.
But you need to come under the submission of Christ's complete will for your life.
That's
His
right.
good, perfect, and pleasing will. That's what Romans 12:2 says.
That's right.
His good, pleasing, and perfect will.
Yeah.
So would you today say, Lord, get my heart and my mind there, that there's more for me. Let's break these generational
Give me
cycles.
a vision, Father.
Give me a vision.
Give me a vision for my family.
That's right.
You know?
A vision for me, a vision for my family, a vision for my children.
That's right.
Because don't let your children tell you where they're going.
That's right.
They don't know what they're doing. That's where you come in.
You set the atmosphere.
That's right. So listen.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. That's all I got. And that's all, folks. That was good. So she said I was all like the Looney Tunes. You know what I'm saying?
And you can order your new Locas merch. We'll be setting up right now, and we'll show you all the stuff that we got. We're going to come through in a few with the merch. And we have a special merch that we got coming out that you'll see on the next pod. We love you, Locas. Have a blessed one, and we'll see you next Thursday at 12 p.m.
All right, everyone. Bye.
Ciao. As we close another chapter of Las Locas Chronicles, remember, in the midst of our daily locuras and the challenges we face, there's always a lesson, a blessing, and an opportunity to go closer to the Lord and to each other. We also want to hear from you. If you have a story to share, a question, or a topic you'd like for us to explore, please reach out to us. Don't forget to follow and subscribe to our podcast to stay updated with our latest episodes. And if today's conversation inspired you, consider sharing it with a friend or fellow believer who might need a little extra encouragement. Thank you for joining us. Until the next time, keep walking in faith, embrace your beautiful locuras, and never forget the impact you can make in serving the Lord and those around you. Hasta la próxima.